So let's look a little bit more at where eukaryotes come from. It turns out that we have an exploitative history, constantly eating everybody we come across. Consider the cryptophyte algae. In these algae, the chloroplasts are not surrounded by 2 membranes, but by 4. Not only this, but in between the outer 2 and the inner 2 membranes, there's a blob, a so-called nucleomorph. The nucleomorph is the debris of the nucleus and other cellular materials and structures of an alga that was assimilated by the cell that became the cryptophytes. So the cryptophytes got chloroplasts by engulfing a eukaryotic alga that had engulfed a cyanobacterium. And from the gene sequence of the nucleomorph, we know that the alga that was engulfed was a red alga. Amazingly, there are also tertiary engulfings. For example, the dinoflagellates have chloroplasts surrounded by 6 membranes. So just when some hapless eukaryote thought they had it good by swallowing a cyanobacterium, it in turn is swallowed, and so is the predator of that one that swallowed them. So now there are many other characteristics that are essential to eukaryotes, but cannot be explained quite like this. The existence of a nucleus is one feature that probably does not come from a prokaryote. After all, bacteria have their genetic information just floating around inside the entire cell. Indeed, the entire intercellular landscape is different. In contrast, in eukaryotic cells, there are well-defined organelles with different functions. There are microtubules and flagella, a fundamentally different architecture from that in a bacterium. Eukaryotes also have unique biochemistry, particularly in the details of how genetic information is transcribed and turned into proteins. As mentioned earlier, eukaryotes also have a cytoskeleton that both organizes the interior of the cell and allows the cell to crawl. The difference in cell walls is like a cardboard box in a bacterium versus a balloon in a eukaryote. The latter can deform, while the former is stuck pretty much in one shape. So where does all this distinctly eukaryotic stuff come from? Well, there are hypotheses. Andy Knoll talks about one of them in his book, Life on a Young Planet, but the basic idea is that 2 different kinds of prokaryotes get together, and from that you get the development of this eukaryotic cell. We know, for example, that different types of microbes are packed together in stromatolites, each exchanging waste products and probably other materials with each other. Effectively, my waste is your food. Methanogenic archaea, for example, produce methane, and that can become the fuel for a proteobacterium. In turn, that proteobacterium produces hydrogen, CO2, or acetate, and these waste products are fuel for methanogenic archaea. On top of all this trading of materials, there may also be protection. For instance, methanogens have problems with free oxygen that might be produced by cyanobacteria. A solution is for some other organism to use the oxygen for its own business, effectively shielding the pathogens from this deadly substance. The point is that the layers of trading this material for that material or offering protection means that there is strong selection to work out the kinks in these processes. Eukaryotes may be one of the solutions, since their organization, motility, and flexibility in terms of what metabolisms they combine through endosymbiosis may be just the ticket for making the most of all that bacterial innovation back in the dawn of time.